Do I think that 2025 could be a special year for Cardano's native token called ADA? I think so. And the reason why is because reaching the price of $10, that wouldn't really shock me in the slightest, because the way you take a look at it is that, again, this year could be so special. 2024 was a great year, but I think this one could be a fantastic year, even though nothing I say is financial advice. Because we all know that historically speaking, as a worst case scenario, usually altcoins, they peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event, which if we base this off of the last Bitcoin halving event, that would actually mean around October of this year in 2025, which is why I think that 2025 could be a very fantastic year for Cardano's native token called ADA. But even though this is not a surefire date, like I'm not saying that exactly in October ADA is going to reach the price of $10. I'm not saying that. We don't know exactly. However, I think this, if anything, gives a good benchmark as to when we could very well see things peak again as a worst case scenario, historically speaking. Now, people may think that, okay, Cardano's native token called ADA, that can't reach $10. But I disagree with that, because we all know that Cardano has become a very big narrative when it comes to layer 1 blockchains. And people, even though they love Ethereum, they love BNB, they love Solana, I think Cardano is just the next step and the next evolution. Because even despite Cardano's great performance and also its native token called ADA doing absolutely well, much like I predicted, I still think that it has some in the gas tank, because people may think that, oh yeah, $10 for ADA is just a little bit too much. But in my opinion, it's not too much, because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $352 billion. Or let's say for simplicity's sake, $350 billion. But even besides that, that rate there is still around $200 billion less than Ethereum's all-time high market cap. So I don't think it's too much to ask for. Now, if you take a look at Ethereum, it's not as great as Cardano in terms of the fundamentals. In the ecosystem department, in the fans and the hype, yeah, of course, Ethereum does win. But when it comes to fundamentals, Ethereum doesn't beat out Cardano. Again, take a look at Cardano's very low gas fees, amazing scalability. Those two features, I don't think are really present when it comes to Ethereum. I've never heard anyone say that, oh yeah, Ethereum's gas fees, that's amazing. Oh, it's so cheap. No one has ever said that, in my opinion, at least that I've heard of, right? Also, no one's been raving about Ethereum scalability, because let's face it, it's not great. It has to rely on these layer 2s. Nothing wrong with that, but it's a little bit messy. I think sometimes people just don't want to deal with that type of stuff. Also, enterprises, they don't care. But when it comes to Cardano, because naturally it's good from the ground up, it's just much better than Ethereum. And I think it has much better potential. I think the ceiling is much higher when it comes to Ethereum, because even though Ethereum has done very well and it's going to continue to do well moving forward, especially with the Ethereum ETF, I think due to its limitations and having to rely on these layer 2s, it does put a certain barrier as to what it could be. You know what I mean? The way you take a look at it is that it just doesn't really have the horsepower, in a sense, to really go the extra mile, if that makes sense. So the way you take a look at something like Cardano is that not only is it better than Ethereum, fundamentally speaking, but I think the ceiling is much better as well. Now, you have to take a look at Cardano. With its very low gas fees, amazing scalability, and fantastic speed, this really does put it in the category of one of the top blockchains out there. I get it. It launched back in the day. And even still, despite that, it's able to compete with the new players like an Avalanche, like an Algorand, the ones that at least gain a lot of hype as of late, right? Also, you take a look at Solana. Now, the amazing thing about Cardano is the fact that even though people may think it's a dinosaur, its reliability is very rock solid, especially when compared to Solana. Solana is not that reliable. That experienced around 8 different network outages in just a time span of a year, by the way, at one point, which is completely embarrassing in my opinion. Now, again, allegedly it's been fixed, but I'm just saying, that's not great. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see that type of nonsense going on with Cardano. Now, you have to take a look at, when it comes to a layer 1 blockchain, why is this going to be a big narrative? Because even though there are meme coins, even though there are DeFi projects, NFT projects, we have to take a look at how these projects, they often exist on these layer 1 blockchains. So people oftentimes, they revert back to layer 1 blockchains and take a look at these type of projects as one of their mainstays in their portfolio. I'm not saying that, oh, the only thing I own is Cardano's native token called ADA, I'm going to know nothing else. Even though some people do that, I'm not going to do that because I do believe in other projects too, but I have to use Cardano's native token called ADA as one of my foundational pieces, because I do believe that this right here is very special. I think it's a much better pick for me instead of Bitcoin, because people like to say, oh, Bitcoin is so amazing, I have to acquire Bitcoin. I disagree with that. No, I don't have to do that. Bitcoin, people like to say it's rare. 21 million, yeah, the maximum supply, I get it, it's not that much, but it's relatively speaking very subjective in terms of rarity. We just don't really know if people think that this is rare or this is rare, because think about this, right? People are very adamant that Bitcoin is rare, but sometimes these people who believe in Bitcoin, they say that quant isn't rare enough, which is kind of insane to think about, because if you take a look at quant, maximum supply is around 14.6 to around 14.8 million, depending on the site or exchange. And you got to think about that. Even if, let's say, 5 million Bitcoin was lost for whatever reason, because people like to say, oh, Bitcoin, a lot of it got lost back in the day when people forgot their password because, they probably didn't know if Bitcoin was going to be worth anything. But even besides that, even if we remove 5 billion Bitcoin from the maximum supply, that'd be 16 million. That's still over 1 million more than Quant's maximum supply. So we got to think about that. Being rare is very subjective. So when people like to say, oh, Bitcoin is rare, well, Quant is more rare. And even some people don't think it's rare enough. And rarity, it does matter to a certain extent, but then there's going to be a law of diminishing returns, because it only matters to a certain point. Like if that was the major factor, then why isn't the project with the lowest supply of all time doing the best? You know what I mean? So the way you take a look at it is that rarity, of course, does play a factor. And people like to say that Cardano's native token called ADA isn't rare enough, but it's very subjective and it really depends on the tokenomics for each project. So I don't think it's a major factor here. If anything, I'll continue to accumulate more ADA anytime an income hold, and I just wait, that's it, because I've been acquiring Cardano's native token called ADA ever since 2021. So I haven't given up, by the way. I haven't sold any ADA. I've been accumulating throughout this whole time, even though despite a lot of people saying this, saying that, it's trash, saying that, oh, Pepe outperformed it, which arguably it did because Pepe did very amazing. But I'm just saying, as the old saying goes, every dog will have its day. And in my opinion, anything over a 10x is actually a very big bonus. So when I consider how much I've been up when it comes to Cardano's native token called ADA, it doesn't seem so bad, especially if, let's say, we're to go to the price of $10, which is still around the 10x from here, by the way. So I don't think it's actually that bad anyways. If, let's say, it does an additional 10x from here, however, I'm not guaranteeing anything. However, I'm very bullish on this board, and I think that 2025 could be a very special year. I mean, we have over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. Man, I think this board, as it gets into the third, fourth, and fifth year, it could be something special, especially with this many crypto owners. I think the sky's the limit, and Bitcoin, once it reaches that next level, 150,000, 200,000, maybe even beyond, Cardano's native token called ADA at the price of $10, I really don't see why not. And I'm still very bullish on Cardano. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye.